Hey guys, it's Mickey T here and welcome to my Minecraft Hardcore Let's Play, where for the last 1,500 plus days in Minecraft, we've actually spent it building this dwarven megacity, which has been deeply inspired by Moria from the Lord of the Rings. And in this week's video, I'm going to challenge myself to complete the trading hall that we started in the last video that is intended to hold over 1,000 villager traders. I'd like to also go ahead and just welcome all of the new subscribers that have joined us recently, as we have smashed 10,000 and we are now on our way to 100,000 subscribers, which is an incredible number that I have dreamt of since I was a teenager. If you'd like to go ahead and help us out, I would deeply appreciate it if you could consider hitting that subscribe button. But I'll see you guys in the video. I hope you enjoy. Let's roll it. But before we go ahead and jump into the tasks that I actually want to get done on this video, there's a few things I need to do, such as upgrading our emeralds and then trading them in for golden carrots. And it's good to know the carrot farm is broken, so that's another thing that I'll have to fix. And I also said upgrading potatoes to emeralds. I meant trading them in. So you can definitely tell I've been away from this game for a short while. Well, next up we need to also restock our supply of fireworks, as we are running a little bit low. So that's the pocket rockets all restocked. Well, we've just got to get on and get all the tools repaired. And so don't ask me why, but for some reason, even though it was the smallest task of the video, that felt like the most daunting. And I think it's purely just for the fact that I've just come back off holiday, and that was the first thing I've actually ever done since booting up the world. However, we can move on, because I'm sure many of you guys will remember our villager trading hall, as it was very popular with you guys. I want to go ahead and challenge myself to try and finish this, which sadly means the inevitable of mining out 3 more layers, as we have 4, but we need 3 more in total for 7, as we are going to have clerics, librarians, fletchers, weaponsmiths, armorsmiths, masons, and toolsmiths in this villager trading hall. I've decided against the others because I just thought that they weren't really particularly necessary at the moment. But other than that, there's nothing else to it than to go ahead and do the thing that you all hate me saying and roll that time lapse. And 1 hour of recording later, we have now indeed gone ahead and got another floor dug, and this means we are now on 5, and that means we only have 2 more to go. However, I do need to head out now, as I am going to the gym, and by gym I mean gym in real life, not in Minecraft. I mean, Steve lifts literally like 1 billion blocks, 1 billion tons in his inventory. When you have an inventory full of stone, I don't think my little dwarven Steve needs the gym. But with the gym gains, we can go ahead and gather some torches that we need for keeping the place lit up, as I was getting a little bit sick and tired of the zombies and stuff spawning. But we jump back to the base, in which, in all honesty, I've actually just realized a huge mistake that I'm going to have to rectify. As you guys all know that we did this top layer 1, 2, 3, 6 blocks tall. I screwed up a little bit there. And then the second layer is also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks tall. Are you with me so far? But down on the third layer, I did it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tall, which was a bit of an oversight on my behalf. However, it did kind of work in my favor. If I just jump back up to the top floor, what I decided to do was kind of take this design and basically do 6, 6, 5, 5, 5, and then 6, 6. So the bottom will be a repeat of the top. So there's really nothing else to it but to just go ahead and get to work filling in a layer so that it's only 5 tall, so it matches. Well, that's 1 layer done. We just need to go ahead and do it on 3 more. So let's see if we can do a cool little transition in 3, 2, 1. See, we did some magic, movie magic. However, yep, that is this layer now raised. This should only be 5 blocks. And you may also have noticed that we have dug out a little bit more, because, yeah, we needed some more stone. So, for the sake of transparency, let's go ahead and roll the time lapse to show you the work being done. We also need to go ahead and level the one underneath it as well, but we also need to go and repair our pickaxes. So as usual, a quick pit stop to the end. So we head back to the new area with some emeralds in hand, in which I think we're going to need to farm some more emeralds if we're going to be able to level all of these villages up, because we're going to need a lot, as we haven't even got one side in, and if you think to level these villages up, it's going to take probably about a stack of emeralds each. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. So just to point out just how badly I actually screwed up on this, I am such a pleb sometimes. So yeah, this needs to be 5 blocks tall, just like that floor and that floor. And in order to do that, we need to actually go around and raise this entire platform by 2 blocks, not 1 block. And then we need to dig out the roof by 1 block, as you may be able to see, but I've made the roof, or this floor thick, and it should only be 3 thick to match the one above it. So we've got a lot of work to do. And just with a quick fix of the very bottom floor that we were working on, as we did also accidentally dig out a layer that we shouldn't have, so this should be like this, as we did run out of stone, so now we can actually go ahead and continue digging down in order to get the stone that we need to carry on lifting up this floor. It's all a bit higgledy-piggledy, but I promise it'll make sense soon. In which, after gathering a little bit more stone, we can get back to placing it down. And we're out again, so it's back down to continue mining out the area. And I think it's also worth noting, by placing down this floor and digging out one more level in the roof, I can officially report that we have finished our second from last floor. Now obviously we still need to raise the floor of this one and dig out the roof above it, but I'm going to go ahead and consider this a pretty big win, as we are closing in on finishing up the digging out phase, which is probably the most tedious part of having a Dwarven Kingdom. However, we move on, as I'm thinking we may actually have enough blocks to finish off connecting these 2 parts that we've done so far. Oh, hey. Yeah, we had more than enough. I knew we did. I was just having you on. Look at me being all dramatic, like a dramatic... I don't know. As the last job is to now just raise the roof of this layer by 1 block all the way around the edges, so it's really not that difficult. I can confirm that we have now finished the next layer, so we can actually just go ahead and dig out the final layer and the rest of the bottom. It was at this point in the video that it actually started to annoy me, the fact that every time I wanted to repair my pickaxe I had to travel to the end, so I decided to take some of the coal that we had built up over the last couple of months and go ahead and start beginning to level up some of the traders that we had in place, so that we could unlock the iron ingots to emerald trades, making use of our iron farm. I actually completely forgot, but I need to document this so you guys are aware, that our villager breeder has broke. I apparently fixed it in the fact that apparently having a block above the composter broke it, as we are well on our way now to finally getting all this area dug out. All we need to actually go ahead and do now is finish off this final level by mining out this whole area, in which that job is made a little bit tiny more difficult by the fact that we have now kind of starting to hit that deep slate layer, so that occasionally the blocks just take that little bit extra to mine, so you kind of lose your swing a bit, but we continue because we have no other choice. And there's nothing worse than hitting a lush part of the biome where you technically should use a hoe to get rid of all of this, but I don't really carry one with me at all times, so it just becomes a bit more of a chore. But we are indeed on the last home stretch of the final floor, which makes me very excited, as every day logging on to this project has indeed just been logging on, mining, and logging off, so I'll be glad to put this behind us. In which, I just mean this floor, by the way, putting mining behind us, little bit impossible when you're doing a Dwarven Kingdom. In which this should be coming up to the last blocks that we have to mine on the floor. Oh yeah, this is it. This is exactly the right kind of vibe. Now, There's just one more job, and I swear we're done with the mining, I promise. We actually just need to go ahead and lower this floor now by about 4 or 5 blocks, and the reason will become apparent in a short while. Then we mark a 25 by 25 square for a future project before trading in some iron ingots that we had lying around to repair the tools. And several trades later, we now have 2 almost fully repaired pickaxes, and it's incredible the fact that I don't have to leave this place. Okie dokie then, so we've gone ahead and finished up digging out this area where the future column in the center of the trading hall is going to sit. However, we need to move on now, as we need to go ahead and start placing down the floors similar to this one, but doing it on every single level. So let's roll the time lapse once again. And adding a little bit of context for any of the newer viewers, I really wanted to try and design a very simple floor which looked a bit better than just being one color, was a little bit textured, looked a bit ornate and really fancy, and still held that dwarven element. And instead of making things too complicated, I decided to use deep slate and cobbled deep slate to create this checkered effect, making a nice, simple, fancy floor for our dwarven kingdom. And we've gone ahead and got all of the floors done, so we can actually go ahead now and move on to the next part. Oh, we stuck the landing, it's fine. But we can go on and move on to building up the stone area. And yes, before anybody mentions it, I am going to have to dig up the floors and place down the redstone and the pistons and things. Yeah, didn't really think about it. So we're going to go ahead and repeat this design, as this is only 5 blocks tall, on this level and this level. So we're going to go ahead and go and gather the resources that we need. I can go ahead and confirm that we do have a lot of stone in our little Stone Nation chest. So we should have way more than enough than what we need for the next couple of layers. So let's go ahead and turn this all into stone brick, in which I've come back to the base very quickly, as we do need a bunch of spruce trapdoors. We are actually going to need probably several stacks if we're going to want to get every layer done, but for now, yeah, we need a lot more than that. To the trees! And after crafting several blocks, if my maths is correct, we should have enough spruce doors. But yeah, my maths is never correct. But let's move on, as we do need a few repeaters. So we're going to need to go and grab a bunch of nether quartz, where we can go ahead and put it in here, where we have several stacks of redstone torches, as this is going to tell us if we've got enough. We may need a few more redstone torches, but we do need some redstone. And using some of the emeralds that we have in the base should be enough to go ahead and buy a fairly small amount of redstone, but we're gonna need a lot more. Which I'm totally aware of the irony here in making the village a trading hall, so that we will never run out of redstone again with one layer being clerics, but we are now actually out of redstone. And so with some iron trading into emeralds, we can continue our journey of trading up to get more redstone. So we head back to our villager trading hall. Never mind, we needed more stone. But luckily, being a dwarf, stone is not in short supply. And moving on, we definitely do not have enough materials just yet to finish every single layer. But I think if my maths again is correct, which it probably isn't, we can go ahead and finish these 2 layers. So the first things we need to do is dig out the trenches for the zombie. First layer done, so on to the second. And there's the second one done. We are looking a-okay. Then we just need to go around adding all of the trapdoors where we've just dug out. So we can go ahead just placing down trapdoors on the second layer. And that's complete, so we can move back up to the other layer. And just as I'm starting to break blocks and place down the pistons, I think I actually, in the last episode that I filmed, said that I was going to skip the pistons and just use double redstone rather than using pistons. Because the reason why I was using pistons to start with was simply because I wanted to try and create a system where I could individually lower the single villager, or I could have a button hooked up that would lower all of the villagers if I wanted to mass convert them. But I realized that that effort was probably futile. And now that I think about it, I may have just wasted a lot of resources creating repeaters when I really didn't have to do that. But luckily redstone's not too expensive, so I think I am going to go ahead and skip the repeaters. And just because it's easier for my brain to kind of focus on when I get into the swing of things, we've gone round and basically just dug out the trenches for each individual piston and redstone, just so we can go around and bang it all in really quickly. And so we went round each level just so I could get into the swing of things by just digging out the 3 block by 2 block trenches for each of the pistons and redstone, making life just that little bit easier for us. And that's that done, so that's pretty much almost there, so we can get to work on doing the actual stonework now, which should just about finish up these 2 layers. We do need to actually get the workstations and the levers, but that's something we can focus on doing towards the end once we've done the other 2 layers below. And going ahead and using the stone that we had converted into stone brick earlier on in the video, we could actually now go ahead and build the stone pillars just as we had done on layer 3, repeating it on floor 4 and 5. And just a quick interlude to just say that this looks absolutely incredible. I am so happy with the way that this is looking right now, and it's only going to get even better when we start doing these 2 levels and we start working on the idea that I have for the centerpiece. But we need to finish off the rest of the layers, so we jump into a very quick montage of gathering all the materials. So we could then jump into finishing off the final layers of our trading hall. However, I had to take a very quick stop. Now I'm going to interrupt the quick time lapse because I actually wanted to just see what this looks like. Because as you guys know, I've basically tried to take this design and reverse it so that when you're actually stood in the hall, you can kind of get a sense that the shape is being continued down below. And it actually looks alright. I was worried that it wasn't going to look particularly fantastic. It doesn't look the best, I'll admit. I feel like it probably looked better if we dropped that down to the bottom layer and just made that into a standard layer, maybe reversing so that we actually have that design on the second layer and then we have this on the last layer so that we kind of get down to the very bottom and then it kind of curves in. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and do that, so we'll tear this out, carry on the time lapse, and I'll see you guys when we finish. Well, we've finally gone ahead and finished up the build, and I must say it is looking absolutely incredible. When I say finish the build, I actually mean we've just finished like the trading hall part. We actually haven't quite finished with the project just yet. However, I wanted to just go ahead and talk about this very quickly, as I mentioned, I did go ahead and add the slope design on the very bottom, and then I also extruded the design out by a couple of blocks and then added like a stair drop down into this pit, which is going to become very important in just a second. But first I thought I'd go ahead and showcase just a little bit of what we did in our live stream over on Twitch, where we actually went ahead and got a bunch more villagers in the actual trading hall. Oh, this guy has grown up now. He was a baby villager during the live stream. But we've actually gone ahead and filled over half of the first floor, so we are well on our track to getting to work on the second floor, which is going to be the librarians, then the clerics. Then we're basically just going to have a bunch of different like workstations, armor stations and stuff, and a bunch of different traders. I have got a list, I absolutely promise. Of course you guys know we've got a list. I literally went over it earlier on in this video. However, we're going to go ahead and get on with the final challenge of this video, which is completing the room with a way of actually being able to get up and down to each floor, because obviously in our dwarven lore, technically the dwarves aren't supposed to be able to fly with elytras, so we need a way for them to traverse up and down to each level, in which I'm going to go ahead, and if you guys, all the OG viewers, will remember in Season 1 of our Hardcore World, we had the giant elevator, which was a dwarven column, which had a water elevator built inside of it. Now, we're going to go ahead and do something very similar. I'm going to use that design and recreate it in the center of the room, and then we're going to build bridges sticking out of either side going to each level. But before we can do so, I do have to go ahead and showcase something which I haven't been 100% transparent about. We have occasionally ran out of stone and we've needed to top up, so I've slowly been making progress on mining out this area, which needed mining all the way back to about where the entrance of the trading hall is, so we can go ahead and build this area up. So I'm going to go ahead and begin gathering a little bit of stone from this area, as we are going to need more for our build. In which, as we go ahead and fill up our first shulker box, I can indeed report we've actually gone ahead and broken the 900,000 stone mined mark, which is an incredible feat. And yes, I am fully aware that I actually made a promise to you guys that I would sacrifice something if you guys managed to hit 10,000 subscribers on the channel before I hit 1,000,000 stone mine, which you guys, can I just say for the record, absolutely smashed out the park. So we can head back down and place these down, which are full of the stone. I don't know if it's the exact amount we need, but I'm pretty famous around these parts, if you don't know, for basically just winging builds. But we continue with one last stop to grab some cobble deep slate, which we're going to need for the build as well. And as I'm actually sat mining this out, I'm thinking to myself, would I actually really like to try and hit 1,000,000 cobble deep slate mined? And the answer to that is simply no. I barely mined even 100,000 and I'm already sick to death of mining this stuff, but I just know for a fact that one day we're going to run into a project that's probably going to need so much of this stuff, it's going to drive me insane. In which we head back up to the top with our cobblestone, and I'm also going to go ahead and just very quickly just finish off this area, because yeah, we don't want to forget about this. But with both of our shulkers with deep slate and cobble deep slate in, we can head back down into the pit, placing them down along with our crafting bench, as we're going to be doing a fair bit of crafting. Sorry about the interruption. And I don't remember if we actually need it, but I thought grabbing some cobblestone would probably be a good shout, as it is a very large stone structure, so I can imagine cobblestone probably coming in handy for a little bit of texturing. I've actually got enough cobble. I've just got a bit carried away mining at this point, so I should probably stop and head over back to where we're going to build the pillar. Yeah, that seems like more than enough cobble. We'll go ahead and take that down along with our other stone shulker. As we head down, we can go ahead and roll the time lapse and begin building this, as I kind of know what I'm doing with this build, but I actually need to go ahead and make some mild adjustments, as the previous one was 24 by 24 blocks, making the center a 2 by 2 instead of a single block. But because I would like to keep this beacon in place, just in case we ever want to expand this and it just saves taking it out, we're going to go ahead and leave that there and work around it, and it's going to help keep the whole thing center. So let's go ahead and roll the time lapse. And the grand reveal. Oh my god, that looks absolutely insane. I am going to be honest, I do wish I had kind of built this bit a little bit higher. I wish I dug out the roof and kind of extended it so that this wasn't kind of in your face. That might be something that we do later on down the line, when we've finally gotten over the couple of hours that it's taken to build this. And the next thing that I was planning on doing tonight was actually building the bridges so that we can actually get across. And my idea towards building these bridges was to stagger them on each layer. So the first layer would have 2 bridges kind of going in from north to south, and then the next layer, like, oh, let's try that again, shall we? The idea would be to stagger the bridges so that on the first layer we kind of have the bridges going in side to side, and then This one we have like north to south, and then again this one would mirror the first layer, and would basically just rinse and repeat all the way to the bottom, and then design some very simple but effective easy little doorways into the pillar. However, the only issue is, I am really sorry to announce this, but I've actually completely ran out of time, as it is now 9 PM and I actually have a trip that I haven't even packed for that I'm heading on at 9 AM in the morning. We're heading through to Scotland to travel around the NC 500, which is a very famous route, which I'm going to be vlogging over on the vlog channel, which I'd really appreciate it if you could go and check that out. The link is in the description. But if vlogs aren't your thing, that's absolutely fine. But admittedly, it is a little bit frustrating because I really wanted to get this project fully finished in this video, because unfortunately I am getting quite famous for just not finishing anything, and I really wanted to challenge myself to get finished, but this migraine is just absolutely killing me, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap things up. Thank you so much guys for watching. I've been the Mike James, also known as It's Me, Mickey T. Thank you for joining my Let's Play series. I really appreciate your faces. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the like button. Let's see if we can go ahead and smash 500 likes on this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.